Hey guys, and welcome to Stay on Target, a film review channel where we dissect movies every month, kind of get impressions of them, see what people think, give our overall score of the movie. The first section of this will be non-spoilers, the second section will be spoilers. So at that point, pause it, switch it off, go and see the movie, come back to it, watch the rest of our review. Subscribe to us, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Joining me on the couch tonight is Adam and Kieran, our sensible-headed film buffs. We're going to see what they thought of it. All of us have seen the movie. Oh, by the way, the movie we're watching is Captain America Civil War. I should probably point that out. They've all seen it in the last 24 hours. Myself and Kieran are at midnight screenings. Both of us knackered. Hopefully this is going to go well. Okay, going to throw this out to the room. What did people think of the movie?
I quite enjoyed it.
We're happy.
Lots
We're
of
generally quite happy after
explosions,
this.
gunfights, yeah.
I mean, like,
Ticks my
90%
boxes.
of good movies, like how many explosions there are in the movie.
I think what separates this, though, Emmett, from your typical Michael Bay film is that there's good character development there. You know, you can see every character gets their moment, whether it's Vision. You know, you can clearly see he's progressed as a character with Wanda. You know, there's a lot of progression there.
Vision is an interesting one because, like, that's the first time you see him as a character. He's not just like this godly robot creature thing. It's like he's wearing polos and he's wearing like turtlenecks and things, and he's kind of.
And he's not a cook.
He isn't a cook. No, he
not
doesn't
a
know what paprika is in this movie. Vision cannot cook.
He cannot.
But yes, there's kind of a love interest thing with himself and Wanda. I guess we shouldn't. It's not a spoiler. If
No,
we
it's
talk
not
about this sort of thing, like it's kind of. I guess if he's the perfect AI, then like he must be human-like. Therefore, he must have feelings. Probably the most emotional love interest in that movie. This is one thing the movie kind of lacked on. It didn't have love interests. I mean, like, there is one sort of thing for Captain America. Pepper Potts does not appear in this movie. Clearly the budget did not stretch to Gwyneth Paltrow. They just gonna like mention her twice and you're gonna like, oh, she's not gonna be here. There's a bit of a tiff between herself and Tony, so we're just gonna ignore that entirely. But yeah, no, the Wanda and
Well, if that
Vision-
budget went towards more explosions, I think it was budget well spent.
yeah, it's very fair. Like there is one scene in my head that I'm thinking like, it's probably one of the most like climactic superhero fights like ever in. It beat anything that like you'd see in Batman vs Superman or even like the Avengers. It destroyed the Avengers Age of Ultron pretty comfortably. We had character development, yes. So there was a lot of new characters. Like we had Black Panther start off. What do people think of Black Panther?
Excellent. I think it was a character you could have really messed up. You know, kind of racial slurs around things at the moment. But
Yeah.
I think that the cast are right. Chadwick Boseman was an excellent actor.
Mm.
He seemed very powerful. You know, he seems stronger than Cap. You wouldn't mess with him.
Yeah, does he have a superhuman strength, or is he just like his suit was made of vibranium, so obviously like, he couldn't be shot. He was pretty much invincible when he wore the suit.
I think all these mystically type questions is what's going to be answered in the Black Panther movie that they're...
Very good point. Like he's a character I actually know very little about. There's a lot of these characters now. They're kind of getting to like the C or D list of characters that I just don't really know. Doctor Strange is one who will have his own movie in I think like October, November. So I'd like to see them. They're interesting characters. I didn't know much about them. I don't really like to research them because I like to be surprised in the movies. I like to find out then who these guys are.
And then you're left with the burning question, is it mystical superpowers?
Yeah, that's the problem. I will then review the movie and I won't actually have any information on said character. Maybe research in the future would be necessary. Another new character was Spider-Man. What did people think of the Spider-Man?
I think he's the perfect adaptation of Spider-Man, isn't he not? He's not as cringeworthy as the Spider-Man 3 Tobey Maguire situation.
Yes, very, very cringeworthy.
Now dig on this.
No one wants to see the emo dance. I swear to God, if Tom Holland does the emo dance, I will boycott Marvel for life.
I think
That's a warning, Marvel. You hear me? I will boycott you.
Kevin Feige's smart enough not to do any sort of weird emo sessions.
No, what I've actually read is that Sony don't have creative control over the Spider-Man Homecoming movie.
Yes.
It is, they are sending the producer over from the MCU. Marvel control this movie. And I'm okay. Sony will reap the benefits. They will get money for it. They will get a good movie for once.
Yes.
You're not going to have shitty
No,
emos.
no risk of fucking it up.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, this is the safe bet. Marvel created a good Spider-Man. They want to keep that good Spider-Man. Like, he was perfect as Peter, and like his dialogue at Spider-Man was like, there was one moment where Falcon, he's kind of having a fight with Falcon, and Falcon's like, I don't know if you fought before, but we don't usually talk this much during it. Like, it was just remark after remark. It was hilarious, I thought.
You have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude.
Okay, so the story of the movie, like, this was interesting because it doesn't have a bad guy the same way any other Captain America, any Avengers movie, any of these MCU movies have had. There's always been an enemy. This has been more them pitched against each other. Like, did you guys enjoy that? Did you think that was... Did you think it was justified that they were fighting each other most of the time? Or was it just like, these are... I felt Batman vs Superman, weak premise. It's like, oh, you destroyed my building, whereas like... I think Batman's anger against Superman was quite unjustified to the level he took it, whereas this movie, I think... Did you guys think it was justified? It was...
I think, it
made sense.
I agree with you there, Emmett, in fairness. The film, it gives you a good basis. You can understand where each person is coming from. You know, you can see that at some point I went in, big Cap fan, always going to go with Cap. But then you understand where Iron Man's coming from. You know, that's an emotional scene which we won't talk about. He meets someone in an elevator. You can see, it pulls on your heartstrings. You can understand where he's going to come from. You can see why certain members of the team want to go on which side and which where. And, you know, it makes sense, as you say, Batman versus Superman. You know, no reason. Why does Superman not like Batman?
Because
they never really
the
say.
script says it.
The script says it. They have to fight.
They must fight.
They must fight.
It's a script. DC want all of the money now.
Yes. This made sense, I think.
I would agree. I think it's I feel like jumped sides about 3 times during this movie where I was like, I'm on Iron Man's side, and I was like, Captain America is kind of making good points here, and then I can understand once again Iron Man. It was very interesting. It had me jumping between the two.
They're always reluctant to fight. Rather than the other film, you know, they obviously want to fight straight away.
That was the thing, yeah. Even when the fight started, it starts with it's more trying to disable the other team opposed to we must attack.
Yes.
And they pull their punches sort of thing. It's like, it's a lot of delay tactics. It's not like battles to the death.
We'll go in and arrest them instead of letting the armed forces shoot them, kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. Like, obviously this is all centered around the Sokovia Accord, so one side is against them, one side is for them. I sort of started... It's interesting. It's 2 things. It's the Sokovia Accords, and then there's some terrorism, and that kind of... They're almost like 2 stories that intertwine, but will both lead the team to split. And I wasn't... I think I was quite happy with how this movie is paced. I feel it builds very much towards the end of Act 2. There's a climactic scene. It slows a bit. I don't think Act 3 reaches the same kind of heights of action. Emotionally it is brilliant, but I felt slightly like there was something missing just at the end of Act 3. That was just me personally. Like, this is why I would maybe mark this movie down 1. I just felt they built up too high in Act 2 and just didn't follow through with that in Act 3. But emotionally Act 3 is brilliant. What did you guys think?
I agree. I was slightly concerned where they're going with Act 3. After the big climactic Act 2 scene.
Yeah.
There was we won't talk about it now, but in the spoiler section, there was an area I thought they could have went that I didn't want to see them go. Which they did a nice swerve on. Obviously I can't mention it now.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. What was your...
You're going to have to trade off emotion versus action, because it's a very difficult thing to get everything into the perfect scene. So you have to balance it. You got action in one act, emotion in the next.
Sorry, Tony. You know I wouldn't do this if I had any other choice. But he's my friend. So was I.
Okay, if you haven't seen this movie, go to the cinema, watch this movie, come back and watch the rest of our review. We're going to jump into the spoiler section now, so please stop watching this video. We've already got our view, the count has already gone up. Maybe give us a like as well, maybe subscribe, it would be nice. Thank you. Anyway, we're going to go talk about spoilers now. Spoilers, have I made that clear enough? This is the spoiler section. Okay.
Spoilers from here on?
I think there might be a few spoilers from this section onwards. So this movie is essentially Captain America versus Iron Man, which
Boils down to it, yeah.
it boils down to those two characters against each other. The reason they're against each other is very interesting. Like, you have the Sokovia Accords. There's the whole, like, the Avengers need to be brought into check. I was more on Iron Man's side. He is agreeing with this. It's like, they do cause a lot of destruction. They can't just be vigilantes that go out and save people. They have to kind of operate under the UN and kind of, like, be like NATO sort of thing. Like, they go out and they save people. They stop, like, world catastrophes. But it can't be vigilante. It can't be, because then they will just get blamed. It's like, this vigilante group have saved 13 people, but they killed 28. Like, that's the sort of issue. Like, at the start, they're on a mission. They are saving people, but then Scarlet Witch kills like 11 people. And this kind of really sparks off one of the major issues. You had people die, like, in every one of these movies, there was always innocents dying. Vision makes a point which was an interesting one, he makes a point that people are dying, or there's like a rise in these like supernatural enemies because there's been a rise in superhuman defenders. Like, since Iron Man first appeared like 8 years ago, there's been like
Some exponential growth.
An exponential growth in like enemies showing up. Now, obviously, some things are probably unavoidable. Like, I think in the first Avengers, like, those sort of enemies were going to show up regardless. But like, there would be some, like, Winter Soldier came back because Captain America came back. Those sort of things are kind of fair. So, which side were you guys on? Who did you kind of support?
I was Cap.
You're a Captain America.
Yeah, I feel Cap, because you just have to look at it. I know what you're saying with the governments need to control these guys, but I'm just thinking of the original Avengers, when the government's not really a government but a head kind of power decided that the best decision was to bomb the city. You know what I mean? And working together as a team, you could say they're vigilantes. They still stopped it. You know, if they had decided they had to go by the government's law, they wouldn't have stopped that nuke. New York destroyed.
Very good point. That's actually an excellent. I hadn't even thought about that scene. Another thing is, people are looking at, like, you have Hydra and things with infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and they were controlling government level. Like, you don't know who is at these higher government levels.
I think that's what Cap says, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's pretty much like, you don't know who is sending you out on these missions. And you have like Martin Freeman, another older actor whose name I can't remember. I think he was in Hulk. And they feel quite sinister. Like, Freeman looks scary. He's not friendly by any means in this movie.
He's not Watson anyway.
No Watson here.
I see the two sides as responsibility. Captain is taking responsibility for the actions he's taking, and Stark is trying to avoid responsibility. He's trying to shift it over to, the government is telling me what to do. I'm only doing this because the government told me what to do. He's guilty about killing people. Unintentionally, obviously, but people die in each of the movies.
I suppose you could say, though, Cap's never done anything to the scale of the mistake that Tony made with, creating Ultron.
No, you're right.
Where he effectively, is directly at fault for all those people dying. Where Cap never was. So maybe he doesn't feel the same guilt. And now, admittedly, he does feel guilt, but not to the same level as, say, Tony does.
Yeah, but it's the Playboy Tony coming out. And I mean, he's trying to throw away those responsibilities and give it to somebody else.
No offense, but I don't play well with others. Big man in a suit of armor. Take that away, what are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Next, so Winter Soldier gets arrested, Winter Soldier breaks out, Captain America helps Winter Soldier gets reprogrammed. We get to the climactic Act 2 scene. This was interesting, because like Spider-Man was brought in to be a deterrent sort of thing. He wasn't meant to be a fighter, he was there to disarm Captain America. They didn't want to fight. This was a lot of throwing punches. Or pulling punches.
Beating chests and scaring people and
Yeah, this is what we were aiming for here. And it felt like it naturally just broke into the fight. Like, Spider-Man takes the shield, but then Ant-Man takes it back, and then people start to panic a bit. When there's a lot of guns around, people panic, and I think Winter Soldier and Falcon tried to escape, and it just kind of led to this all-out scrap between everyone.
Yeah. One thing I felt was a little forced was everyone running towards each other.
That was so staged.
That was just for the shots.
You do it. There's that stupid scene in Age of Ultron where seven of them are just jumping, and you're just like, guys, who put a camera there?
Exactly.
Like, at least in the first Avengers, you have like they're all like in a circle, and it's like this is a defensive position, and they swirl a camera around it. That makes sense for a group shot. But these like running at each other shots, and these like everyone jumps into a camera shot, that's got to be eliminated.
And
It
Black,
doesn't-
Black Widow's not as fast as Spider-Man. Let's face facts. They're running directly beside each
Yeah,
other. I
was.
think Spider-Man might be able to run her.
Yeah, like
I would expect so. Yeah.
Black Widow and Hawkeye are just
Oh,
the worst. They're just like everyone is having some climactic
Yes.
fights, and they're just like punching. You're pulling
Yeah.
your punches. Yeah, I am. And then Scarlet Witch comes in and says, "Get the fuck out of there! Get out of this."
The best thing Hawkeye did in the whole film was shoot Ant-Man.
Yeah,
with his arrow. That was it, pretty much.
That was yeah.
I think he's brought in to be sort of a moral center or something, but it just.
Well, he
just
definitely
not-
came off as the moral center in the prison where he was like clap
Yeah,
clap.
and
The
I think he
futurist
was
is
meant
here.
to be kind of the one that holds the team together in Age of Ultron. I think that's what they're trying to build through the last couple
Yeah.
of movies. They see their mistakes, and they always try and correct them in the next movies. They always see like Hawkeye sucks. We're gonna make him a moral center and actually give him a reason to be here. Captain America's shield defies all sorts of physics. Spider-Man points that out.
Oh, Captain, big fan.
The bad guy. There's two bad guys in this. There was Crossbones.
Crossbones, yeah.
Yeah, which
Crossbones
kind
at the start and
Yeah.
Zemo towards the end.
Yeah, Crossbones is usually just like big metallic suit,
Yeah.
power pumps on him trying to kill Captain America. Other bad guy is Zemo.
Zemo was a very good villain, I think.
He was
very
excellent. He felt,
scheming and
Exactly.
it felt like something from a Bourne movie or something.
It did,
was-
yeah,
That's what I
exactly,
think. 'Cause
yeah.
It was like he's skulking around and he was taking people out here and there and had all these sort of plans, these EMPs to take out the electric grid so that he could like
oh yeah, that
reprogram
electromagnet,
Winter
yeah.
Soldier at that point, yeah, or like it was just that one scene where like the girl was coming to deliver breakfast and she finds
The
the
dead body.
dead body in the bathroom, which was obviously meant to happen so that
Yes.
all three of the main characters would end up at his base at the end. So there was meant to be other Winter Soldiers.
Yes.
Did we like how that turned out?
I'm glad they didn't go with. I thought this is going to be it. They're going to ruin the film.
Yeah,
They're going to have a
you're
massive
gonna-
fight against 5 Winter Soldiers.
It's your Doomsday again.
Yes.
It's like there's bad guys. Here's
Like-
generic bad guy 1 through 5, and
That's
they were-
basically what they did with Ultron, wasn't it? Like, how many bad guys can we fit into the end?
Yeah.
Ultron and 5,000 Ultrons.
So you just keep
Gonna
going to
have a massive
Russia and
fight.
fighting random bad guys.
I was pleasantly surprised when they came in and they were dead.
Yeah, that was it. And so he wasn't a bad guy. Zemo wasn't a
No.
bad guy. He was just like, you have killed all my family because of your bullshit.
Yes.
Like, well, pretty much it's Tony's fault. But then they have that beautiful reveal. It's like Tony has turned back to kind of good. He is with Captain America and Winter Soldier. We're all friends again. And then you find out the Winter Soldier has killed his family. And you can't blame Iron Man at all for fighting at that point because you're like,
No, not really.
it's really like there's a whole emotional, like they built up the emotional depth of Tony really well in this movie. It's the best since his first movie, I think.
Yeah.
Where they show his family and they show what he wishes he could have said to his dad. Like he wishes they had had a good relationship before, like they died in a car crash. Then find out Winter Soldier was the one to kill them. But then you have the fight scene. It's brutal. Winter Soldier's arm is eradicated by Tony. Tony's almost defeated by Winter Soldier. Tony destroys the Winter Soldier. Tony almost kills Captain America. Captain America almost kills Iron Man. It does some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Stay down. Final warning. I could do this all day.
Just,
Yeah, I think a good thing at the end of the film was basically, everyone bar Iron Man, bar Tony, realised, they're able to stop themselves. Like, I think Tony would have killed him. I think he would have. I think he would have killed. Not
Not
Cap.
Cap, but
But he would have
he would
killed.
have
killed the
killed.
Winter
He was
Soldier, yeah.
he was driven by the revenge. I think.
Yeah, you said it. You killed my mom or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
he was never going to stop.
Mm.
But you can see Cap was able to stop. He was able to
Yeah.
stop. That was a big thing.
That
Yeah,
was
he
close.
had the shield.
He had the shield.
and
He
That
could have done it.
scene was very close. That was tense.
I liked how they compared that and they played it off with Black Panther as well. It was a very similar character to Cap. He had the chance to kill the guy that killed his father, and he was able to restrain himself as well.
Yeah, he talked about vengeance is consuming,
Yes,
stark vengeance.
exactly.
I won't let vengeance consume me anymore. Yeah.
And it showed just the kind of flaw in Tony's character. I don't think he would have stopped it. He would have killed,
No, he wouldn't.
and that would have been the end of him. It was as a hero.
Yeah.
He would have proved himself to be the villain. And also Zemo himself, I see him at the end, like I came away saying that he was justified. You know?
You could understand where he's coming from, but blowing up the UN.
He was a murderer. That's
he's a murderer, but so is Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
so is Cap. So is Black Panther.
Of all the enemies you see, he's kind of the most justified. Like
he did regret it.
Been able to,
He did admit that he regretted killing certainly the king.
The king.
Had he been able to do it by peaceful means, he would have. He just ultimately wanted those characters fighting and defeating each other. It was very different back. I enjoyed him as an enemy.
I can't imagine it's the last we see him either.
No,
he was still there at the
surely
end.
Back.
Yeah, like he was smiling and said, "Who says I didn't succeed?"
Yeah, and he's dead right.
He could barely have another plot. He's
very Machiavellian. He could have planned everything that happened.
Okay, we're gonna go for final scores on this movie. So out of 10, Adam, what did you think?
11.
11 out of 10. So
because it had Captain America in the title.
Okay, so you're Captain America. Your math might be slightly flawed, but
he is American.
American. In fairness, all right. But yeah, so liked this movie. Top marks for this movie.
I like this movie. Yes.
Yes, definitely. Kieran?
I'm going 9.5, and the only reason I'm going to take it down is Elizabeth Olsen. I like her as an actor. She does a good role. It's a good character, but her accent. It's coming, it's going. In Age of Ultron, it's very strong to non-existent. In this, it's non-existent whatsoever. To suddenly there, whenever it suits her. I think that's
that cooking scene.
That cooking scene.
It started, she was American, and at the end of the scene, she was.
Yeah, that's.
I'm Russian or something.
That's my flaw. So I'm going to go with 9.5.
I would give it a 9 because I was actually going to give it an 8. Coming in here, I was thinking an 8, and I've pushed up to a 9.